Welcome to this Cambridge Marketing College webinar here on this Friday of just going into the bank holiday weekend. And we are going to do something which might give you an opportunity to be updating your LinkedIn profile as we go through this weekend, because this is an update fresh in 2024 on how LinkedIn is currently offering up a whole host of opportunities, particularly for those of us in a business development, marketing, communications, or PR kind of role. There's some really exciting updates that are coming through here. Some of these are kind of beta updates, so not fully functional and fully launched for us yet as consumers of LinkedIn. But a number of these updates are really quite fresh and really now emerging through. Some of them are AI enabled, AI powered. Other things are a little bit more traditional, but hopefully some of the elements in this particular update are going to be things that you can use within your profile to really supercharge it. And I think this is one of the things that LinkedIn is very, very conscious of at the moment, is that they want to be enabling more engagement, more social, more collaboration, and certainly embracing of emerging technologies which allow us to scale our messages appropriately. So it's not just about making more noise. This is much more about collaborating with quality. And this is something that comes through very clearly in the research when you see some of these changes. So the state of LinkedIn marketing, as it were, in 2024 is that we have an opportunity here, and it is still a social network that is based around social. And I think you'll find, and I'm sure many of you will agree with me, that when we say the word social media, it's not actually what we're looking at or thinking about now as a channel or as a series of tools within social media. It's very, very not social. Most marketers, most businesses, most people who are posting content are doing it to post content. They're not looking at this as a social platform, as a social channel. But this is different within LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very, very much advocating and encouraging us. And as we'll see when we go into each of the specific updates in this session, we'll see that there's a real theme that is emerging here, which is about collaboration and co-creating content, thought leadership, and ideas. So there is something very social still about LinkedIn, whereas a lot of the other social networks, you can be thinking of the likes of Instagram, TikTok, others are available, that are now much more about publishing. And I think many, many marketers have fallen into the trap and really almost coerced by others in their business or their organizations who don't really understand what the power of social media can be. It is seen as very much a promotion channel. So I'm going to put my new product up there. I'm going to announce this. I'm going to promote that. And it's not about encouraging communication. It's very much a one-way monologue. And that is, in many cases, quite a shame. But that isn't what we're seeing here in LinkedIn. So there is still very much hope for social media from a LinkedIn perspective. LinkedIn now has over 1 billion members worldwide, 55 million registered companies, and 93% of B2B marketers currently using LinkedIn for content marketing this year. So it is a very, very full space. But what it does mean, particularly if you're in B2B, and this even applies to B2C, we're seeing a lot of B2C brands, business to consumer brands, actually feeling that there's an empty space, an opportunity within LinkedIn to be able to do what they do and really see LinkedIn members as consumers, not just business decision makers. So that's quite interesting. But there's a lot of noise, a lot of action, a lot of activity in there. But there's still space to do things correctly and right. And so those are the things that we'll focus in on here. Now, interestingly, buyers on LinkedIn have twice the buying power of the average web audience. So if you decide as part of your content or marketing strategies to put LinkedIn front and center, then you do stand more of a chance just by the statistics to make some impact and to actually make some really great gains. And these numbers have all increased over the last year or so. So we are seeing now this is being very much a maturing social network and a maturing channel for marketing, we're now kind of seeing it reaching maturity. So this is now a great time to really think seriously about LinkedIn in your marketing mix if you aren't already. So we're going to be focusing in this update more on your personal profile, but there are a few little kind of nods to your business or company profile. That can be for a separate session, but we need to kind of get our own house probably in order as a marketer first before we can start really focusing in on our business pages. So here is a little snapshot of the newest features specifically focused around marketers. Okay, so these are the ones we've kind of picked out, almost the best of the best opportunities here. So we're assuming that if you're listening or watching this, that you are in a communications role. So you could be in sales, business development, marketing, PR, communications, internal comms, all of these kind of communicating a message, a proposition, or a particular communicational campaign. If you're doing that, then these are the top 6 things that are the hottest features within LinkedIn this year. So there's creator mode. Now, this one isn't new, but it is something that many people have not switched on. So we'll go there and I'll explore with you how you can do that, where to find it, and the kind of things that it will open up. And that's a game changer. So if you have done it, the question is, are you making the most of being in creator mode, or do you just have a static, if you like, LinkedIn profile? Next one we're going to look at will be collaborative articles. There's the word collaboration, key to the LinkedIn that we're seeing here in 2024. It is not about just producing content for your own sake. When you start to produce top quality, highly valuable, shareable, thought leadership style content, you become potentially a collaborator. And this will lead on to great things, really great things for you personally, but also for your brand if you're representing your brand. And the collaborative articles are things that you can encourage others in your organization or your team to be focusing in on as well. There is a multiplier effect, and I'll explain that. Verification badges have become, again, a quite hot property within LinkedIn. This doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go for the paid or premium versions, which opens up a whole series, depending on which of the subscriptions you go for, opens up a series of different and new features. Verification badges are subtly different. You can have both. So you can be a verified account as well as a premium account paying for your LinkedIn subscription, or you can have neither. It is very much a choice that's yours, but we'll see where there might be value for you, and then you can choose and decide. We're seeing a move towards more interactive style content. Again, we're all very familiar within the likes of Instagram of, swiping links, swipe up, swipe left, swipe right. Swiping now is within LinkedIn. So we're seeing kind of a more stories kind of approach within LinkedIn. Again, probably no real surprise. We've had these kinds of features in the likes of, the Meta family of products and TikTok, etc., for a long time. But now LinkedIn is kind of seeing that there's potentially a benefit there for the dwell time, as we call it in marketing speak, keeping people actually on page and in content for longer by allowing them to take a little bit of control over how they manipulate that content. So the swiping, which has been, hugely successful in other social media, is now and has now made its way into LinkedIn. I'll show you an example just so that you can see where and how you can do that for yourself. Hashtags is still a thing. LinkedIn is being very clear. If you read a lot of the documentation, read some of the help pages as well in LinkedIn, you'll see that indexing content and hashtags indexed in comments is still very much a thing. So they are still seeing hashtags as the glue, whilst it's going out of popularity elsewhere. And again, this is really powered by the AI technologies behind a lot of the social networks that we've been using in marketing. It has kind of almost gone out of favor. Still works, but it isn't really something that all of us have been sort of actively using or prioritizing. But within LinkedIn, it is still a thing. It will help you to bond your content with like-minded content elsewhere. And a new feature that if you've been in recently, you will undoubtedly have seen is AI content recommendations. And I'm going to basically focus on those, not so much in terms of really basically the using of those AI content recommendations, but more what you can do to become featured in the content recommendations. And that, again, of course, as you're starting to expand your digital footprint, as you're going to get more leverage off of your LinkedIn profile, if you can be appearing elsewhere as recommended content, then of course that is going to score very highly in terms of your credibility, your legitimacy, and also the authenticity of the kind of profile that you have. Right, let's start off then with the first one, which was the creator mode. Now, if you switch creator mode on, what you do is you turn your profile into what LinkedIn describe as a content creation hub. So rather than having your profile as a static entity, almost like a CV online, the creator mode opens up a bunch of different features and allows you to showcase, again, using hashtags. There's a follow button, which allows people to very, very simply, in effect, subscribe to your content. And that actually replaces the connect button as a default setting on your profile. So rather than encouraging lots of people to connect with you, which of course means then that you by default have to see their content unless you set it otherwise, the follow button positions you as a content creator. So if you are looking to become more influential, if you're looking to build a following, not necessarily a series of additional connections, so a two-way thing, but if you're looking to build a following to be able to showcase the kind of content you're putting out there, then a creator mode allows you to do that. So if you're looking to become more influential, or even a micro influencer, or let's face it, who wouldn't want to be an influencer with an uppercase I, then the creator mode is starting to point us in that direction. So get that LinkedIn creator mode enabled. And again, I'll show you where that appears in just a moment. It's going to open up as well some, and they describe it as exclusive features, bit of a sales pitch for it, but incredibly powerful stuff like LinkedIn Live and newsletters. So when people are following you, it gives you an opportunity to be promoting to them either live and or as part of like a subscription style model. So you can be pushing newsletter style content out to them. So the action item here is to enable the creator mode on your profile, which will start to establish you as a brand within LinkedIn. And again, if you've got others who are the face of your organization, they must have creator mode enabled, because if you're looking to them to be sharing and advocating your organization or your company content, then they'll need creator mode so that they can superpower it and really kind of drive it out to their audiences. And one of the things that you will see when you enable this in your profile settings is it will open up what LinkedIn are now calling a service page. So this is almost like your own little company page and or website within your LinkedIn profile. Now, this is a relatively new one. This one hasn't been around for too long, but what it does, it allows you to set up almost like a microsite within your LinkedIn profile. So you can put in your services, you can put in any sort of projects that you want to showcase. You can put in, again, if you're a sole trader or you're a business developer, you can put in pricing and brochures and products and services that you offer. So it's more than just having your connection page or your profile page, which has your CV on there, it has where you work, it has your latest posts. This enables something that kind of bridges the gap between your personal profile and your company page. It kind of sits in the middle and adds huge value to those who, as I said earlier, are the face of your organization. So if you want to get out there, if you want to then really start to claim your space, claim your LinkedIn real estate, so to speak, then the service page is one that is well worth starting to populate. Once you then start to do that, you will be opening up an opportunity to really start to get some leverage from the new kind of video formats that LinkedIn are going to be encouraging you to do. I'm going to talk about live video in just a minute, but the short form video, as we're seeing on our timelines, is definitely dominating. Now, this research in terms of effectiveness maybe subtly different. I'm not a huge advocate of taking these kind of generic best practice kind of numbers, but it is a starting point. If you want to really understand the length of video, the style of video, the kind of sort of sound bites that you want to be clipping out of your longer form video that may well be hosted somewhere else, then these are good starting points. I don't say, and I'm not advocating these are the definitive numbers, because of course these are taken and aggregated across a whole different range of marketers and industries and content producers. You'll need to figure out your own. So yours might be subtly different, but videos apparently between 15 to 30 seconds will have a 70% click-through rate, making them the most popular form of engagement content within LinkedIn. Over a third of marketers say 30 to 60 seconds is the most effective video length. But what do they mean really by effective video length? Is that for building awareness? Is that to get advocacy? Is that for engagement? Or is that encompassing click-through as well? But interestingly, that is followed by over a quarter of marketers saying that 1 to 2 minute video length is also really, really effective. So you don't just have to be doing the very, very short form videos that obviously we see on the likes of Instagram and TikTok. You do get a little bit more time here to play and still be effective. So if, for example, you have a webinar or you have a maybe a corporate video or you maybe have been doing a podcast series, and you want to be splicing out and clipping out some of the short form videos that come out of those longer form, then you've got a little bit of flexibility in here to play with. Generally, though, keeping it concise, so under a minute, tends to be good practice overall in socials, but you can play and find out your numbers by watching closely. But the trick, though, is to hook viewers in the first few seconds. Feature people very prominently and always use captions. You know, this is just good practice. We probably all know this, but LinkedIn is saying this stuff works here too. Okay, so this is LinkedIn specific. And of course, as marketers, we're always in for the call to action. In other words, having looked at the video, having watched and listened, okay, as a viewer, I'm now bought in. What do you want me to do next? With a clear call to action must then be at some point positioned towards the second half of the video, or right at the end, and or in the description of that short form video. So make it relatively punchy. You've got a little bit more flexibility within LinkedIn, but definitely repurpose your top performing long form videos into bite-sized clips. And you could also, as well, if you're doing newsletters, etc., you could also almost build the series. So you drip feed, you know, some of the best little sound bites or those best bite-sized clips, so that eventually somebody then thinks, oh, go on then, I'll watch the full long form version of this. So that's kind of what you're trying to do, is build that engagement over time. And you will be rewarded by LinkedIn for doing that. Place where you want to be positioning this, again, back to your own personal profile here, as well as on the services page, if that is of interest to you. You could be adding your best short forms to your featured section. And this is a couple of sections down in your personal profile. You can add into a number of different features there. And again, this is a swipe section as well. So it isn't just the first 3. You can have up to, I think it's up to about 12 featured links, videos, or articles. And it's a great way then of showcasing up-to-date, current, relevant stuff. And the more you keep that featured section up to date, the more your profile will be featured in recommended profiles when people are searching for somebody like you. So up-to-dateness, so the up-to-date nature of this this particular short form video is really, really important. Keep this stuff fresh, and LinkedIn will reward you. The algorithms are clearly showing that. Next one is collaboration. So LinkedIn is offering new styles of collaboration through what they're calling collaborative articles. Now, if thought leadership is on your radar, or you are building the journey towards thought leadership, then collaborative articles are kind of positioned there to allow you to contribute your insights, as well as, of course, be following other insights that other people on the same kinds of topics are also producing. Now, if you've got creator mode on, if you are publishing a lot of good high value content on consistent themes, you will get in the not too distant future, and it really is quite real time. This happens very, very quickly once you start putting good content out there. You will find that you will be invited to collaborate when people are producing content on similar topics. This collaborations thing is a very, very, very hot topic for LinkedIn. And what they're looking to do is bring back the social in social media here within LinkedIn. So if you are interactive, if you're doing stuff on your profile, if you're producing high quality content around very, very specific themed subjects or topics, then you will be invited in the near future to collaborate on more collaborative kind of articles that basically build a conversation. So they build engagement, they build a conversation. They're almost the new wave of hashtag, but they're collaborative articles. So these are really nice things to watch out for. You will see these marked as such when you're in your timeline. When you're going down through your homepage, so your home timeline, you'll notice these occasionally. Some, obviously, the vast majority of stuff will be people you follow and their posts, but you'll occasionally see these collaborative articles, and they come from, or they're owned by almost like an independent source on a particular topic within LinkedIn. But you'll see that people just like you are collaborating and are contributing to them. So as soon as you get the offer to collaborate, personally, I would say jump on it. I've done 2 or 3, and they have been really, really interesting to do. So have a little play. As soon as you see one, and you'll get it in your notifications, it will say, we're inviting you to collaborate on this particular topic. Just go in and read the topic, have a little look around, see what it's about, see what it says, and it will then allow you to post your thought leadership when you're invited. If you want to find out more about that, I would go to the help page and look at the difference between collaborative articles and other articles on LinkedIn. These are fundamentally different in both the way they're hosted, but also the way the LinkedIn algorithm works. Again, if you want to be found, if you want your people in your organization to be found, the more they contribute, the more they give to LinkedIn, the more the algorithm will support them and give back. So that can be a very, very effective way of, again, supercharging your individual profile. Another thing, once you start to get the bug here, once you start to really see this thing taking off, is to think about the concept of going live. Now, for some people, this is like, whoa, hold on a minute. I'm okay doing this kind of privately and setting stuff up and, reflecting and thinking about the content I'm producing. But whoa, Neil, live, that is a whole step too far. But the question is, would you like to get 7 times more reactions and 24 times more comments versus the native static videos that you're producing? I think for most video content producers, the answer is probably going to be yes. 7x more reactions, 24x more comments and engagement. Well, I think I'm going to go for that. Maximizing your LinkedIn Live is all about thinking through, could you do, and again, you have to have creator mode on to be able to do this, so that's why we featured that first. But could you do interactive Q&As? Could you interview somebody either internally, a partner, somebody within your industry, or a thought leader? Could you do demonstrations? Could you do introductions? Could you do new product launches? Interestingly as well, because we're all very curious about what you do and how it works, you could do behind the scenes content too. And promoting upcoming live streams builds anticipation. Those trailers, those teasers, those posts where you're almost going to have that little short form video that says, hey, I'm going to be live later this afternoon. Come and join me. Here's the link. Come and take part. Come and collaborate. And repurposing live content into video ads and clips can also then mean that your live content that you've recorded and saved can be repurposed and reused later as well. So there's a win-win, win-win, win-win-win with live video on LinkedIn. I mean, you just cannot lose. It is about being confident enough to just give it a go. When I did my very first live, as you can imagine, I've done quite a few of these now because I love the statistics, but I'm also now, because of just practicing, it doesn't mean I'm great at it. It just means I practice this a lot. But the first few that I did, I made sure I did it at non-busy times. So I actually did one on a Friday evening when my network seems to be relatively quiet. I also played on a Sunday morning once very, very early, knowing that, hey, nobody else is up, but I'm up. So I'm going to go live and just see what happens to test out the features. So if there are particular quiet points in your week and you know that not too much is happening, maybe go in there and have a little play. It's okay to admit that you're in there playing. I've done that before, and I've had a few people just, put the thumbs up, like, it's like, yeah, good on you. They don't stay around for very long because they know you're not going to give huge value in that session. But be confident to just go in there and do it. And going live at least once per month on topics your audience cares about, again, is another way of supercharging how you do it. Now, the creator mode will allow this thing called live stream, but the interesting thing is you're going to need to find another platform to be able to live stream to your account. Currently, as far as I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, you can't live stream from within LinkedIn itself. So you'll need to be going to a platform, something like StreamYard, which is the one that I use as an example. And basically, you set it up much like a Zoom or Teams call within StreamYard, and you tell it which accounts, and you can go live simultaneously in parallel, in real time, to LinkedIn at the same time as X, to Facebook, and to YouTube, as well as your own website. If you have a live stream page or an area of your website, you can actually give it the instructions to go there too. So it's a very simple thing to do. Again, if you can set up a Zoom call, you can set up StreamYard, and creator mode enables the live stream capability. And I would say it does, from my experience, it does provide a lot more value because it's live. You can have Q&A, but it also gives a lot more kind of, I guess, impetus and energy to the conversation, because you can still make mistakes. It's the real world. Nobody's expecting, absolute perfection, but it does give you that little bit of an edge, if you like, in terms of focus and concentration. So it isn't for everybody. I know that, I get that, but creator mode gives you that option. So maybe it's something in the quieter times worth exploring. LinkedIn is still supporting, though, if that is a little bit of a step too far, it is still supporting, and the algorithms are rewarding engaging content. So incorporating storytelling in its truest sense to humanize your brand is key. The rule of thirds here, you might know this from previous sessions. If you've listened to me before, I'm very passionate about the rule of thirds, that if you're going to balance your content in LinkedIn, it is still hugely relevant to do 1/3 of the content you publish is personal. So that's getting to know you and your brand. 1/3 is point, that's signposting to these thought leadership topics that might not be your content, nothing to do with your business, but it's relevant for your audience. And 1/3 is overt promote. People don't mind that final third as long as you've done the first 2/3. So it's personal, point, promote. That still applies here very, very strongly, as it has done since the dawn of social media. So experiment with different types of content, imagery, memes, AI created stuff is all still fine, but of course, short form video especially is particularly relevant here. You can use these hashtags that I talked about before. 3 to 5 tends to be tops, 1 to 2 if it's a very specific topic. And also, interestingly, this is the big one. Answer the AI tips within your content. So when you look on your timeline, when you think about the kinds of content that you're seeing, what you will see very, very clearly as you go through this, see if I can find a particular example. There's an example here on the screen. What you will see is that below each of the posts, pretty much every post, collaborative posts and also posts that people have done, you'll see a little AI prompted comment, or you'll see a little AI prompted question, which extends on the topic or theme of that particular post. Now, this is brand new this year to LinkedIn. Now, I want to sort of get you thinking not so much about just using it as a consumer of LinkedIn, but think about it from your marketing head. If you have seen a particular piece of content and you think that was really, really good, yeah, that kind of relates to the kind of propositions or the kind of things we talk about as a brand or as a team, wouldn't it be great, actually, if we could then feature just almost behind the scenes within the LinkedIn algorithms and this AI powered stuff alongside this particular article? Now, rather than just purely posting a comment, which of course you can and you should be doing because you want to give the creator of that particular piece of content a nod to say, yeah, I'm engaging with you and it's all good and we support, or we've got another view on it or whatever. So it's part of the story there. But wouldn't it be great when more and more, as they will, people start to continue that thread of conversation using those little AI prompts that are now appearing, those questions, those little teasers for the next step in the conversation? Wouldn't it be great if your content appeared as a recommended piece of content? So here's a little tip for you to think about. When you are in LinkedIn and you see a piece of content that you think is not yours, somebody else's content, and you think, right, that's a really good piece of content, totally relevant. Let's look at the question that the LinkedIn AI is posing at the bottom there to extend this on as a conversation. Now, I wonder if my next post could answer that question. Because if you think about the way the algorithms are working, LinkedIn, or the AI within LinkedIn, is looking at the content that will answer that question to present next. Wouldn't that be cool if it was your content? That's what we're looking for here, is that whole idea of producing content that's great for the current audience, but that also is this more collaborative piece that starts to build the way that LinkedIn is actually moving into the future. So write content to answer the AI tips that you see are relevant to the propositions and the stories you're telling below the content that you're reading yourself. So yeah, it's great to go and have a look as a consumer of that, but also thinking from a marketer's perspective. One eye is on you doing it, but one eye is on you as a marketer. How can we leverage that too? And once you start doing all these things, you will start to see that the analytics in your, there's a little link out from your personal profile into the analytics. You'll start to see the numbers will change. So you need to decide when you put this in, much as you would and should, and obviously have been able to over many, many years within LinkedIn and other social networks to get the insights. You need to be very mindful that as you change stuff in LinkedIn is going to change rapidly. If you're working from a very old style profile and you switch on creator mode and you start to do some of these things that are hot for 2024, you'll see your numbers fundamentally increase and improve. So track key metrics like visits to your profile, your post engagements, and your follower growth. All of these things will almost guarantee to go up as a result of doing some of this stuff. But look deeper. Use the AIs that you're using, ChatGPT or whatever that you're using, to go deeper into the analytics to understand which posts are correlating with which audiences. Monitor your competition, look at their pages, look at your peers, and see to benchmark your performance and your progress. Benchmark against some of the others. Don't obsess by how others are doing, but just see it there as a context setter, a scene setter for what you could build upon and what you could do even better. And then, of course, adjust your strategy and your day-to-day tactics based on these data-driven insights. So reviewing your LinkedIn analytics weekly will allow you to then consistently learn. So we're looking here at continuous incremental improvement. What LinkedIn wants you to do, and of course it's watching every time you look at your analytics, it's thinking, hold on, serious marketer alert. Okay, let's reward them for that. There is no mistaking here that if you go deeper into your LinkedIn and you switch on the important stuff that we've been talking about, if you start to experiment, things will change. LinkedIn knows all about your LinkedIn behaviors and patterns of behavior. It's tracking you and what you do. So the more you do, the more you're going to get back. And it is cumulative. It really, really is. So that's important. Now, for some of you, you will already be doing and investing in LinkedIn advertising. It is moving slightly forward. I would say probably less so than some of the other things that we've been talking about, which are almost like brand new things, particularly the AI-powered stuff, which is going to go, in leaps and bounds in the coming months. Within LinkedIn advertising, we're seeing some new ad formats, some new video formats there, and also interestingly, carousel ads, which again allow you within an advert to tell a long form story. So there's an opportunity here. If you've got a bit more to say, the old static, poster style or banner style advertising is something that is still there, but it's something very much of a last year kind of attitude. So monitor your ad performance against those old school styles, if you like, and obviously allocate an appropriate budget if you don't do advertising right now to test LinkedIn ads and just see what happens. Maybe you do an organic version of a particular post and then do an ad version or a boosted version of it and just watch, just sense what goes on. I'm talking about $10 spend. I'm not talking about thousands of dollars here, but just have that as part of the mix of exploration, because it may well be that that is a way of fast tracking certain types of content. I'm a big believer in seeing what you can get for free. I'm not a big advocate of LinkedIn advertising, but there's a time and a place. If you need to get something to market instantly, if you know your audience is listening, but it's a very crowded marketplace or a crowded topic, you might need those little bursts of advertising to cut through the noise of organic. So it does have a time and a place. There is appropriate moments for it, but I would say it's probably a secondary thing over some of the things that we've been playing with. Having said that, the boosted posts and some of the new, I guess you could call them more Instagram style features, like the swiping opportunity that you have when you post more long form content, opens up just a different way to interact with your content. So it is about mixing it up a little bit. But the key here, if you decide to experiment and play with all of these things, is to do it little and often, is to watch little bite-sized incremental changes. Don't just try and change everything all at once and then think, oh, now I can't break down and work out with the bit that made the biggest difference. So A/B testing, or split testing as we call it. If you use from the analytics that you see, if you use something like ChatGPT, for example, the data analytics capability of ChatGPT, you can do multivariate testing, which means that you can change 3 or 4 things, put the analytics into GPT, and it will figure out the thing that made the difference. But as a human being, that is really hard, almost impossible to do. So if you're not yet using ChatGPT, and others are available, to do your data analytics, then stick to A/B testing. Change one thing alone and watch for the difference. And the next time, change one more thing and watch for the difference there. Keep it simple. That is absolutely the key. And it isn't something, I don't think, and I've been kind of hinting at this all the way through here, it's not really something I think that it's wise to try and do all of this alone. So if you've got a team around you, if you've got colleagues, if you've got others in the organization who have or would like to have a fully supercharged LinkedIn profile because it's going to support themselves, but also the business, then it is time now to really empower employee advocacy. So encouraging others, colleagues, the rest of your team, your boss, whoever it is, to share and engage with your and your company's content, and almost kind of leveraging their networks to expand the brand's reach. If you just think about it, if you've got 10 people who can share the piece of content, that doesn't just 10x the content visibility. You think you're multiplying that by 10, but you're also multiplying it by the number of connections they've got who could be very different to you. So this is just good practice. But again, as part of the LinkedIn algorithms, we believe that this is going to be well rewarded as we go through the rest of this year. So some form of kind of more formal employee advocacy program where, if you post a piece of content on behalf of the business, you let everybody else know and let them and enable them to showcase that content too, rather than just waiting and hoping they see it on their timeline. Push the content out through your business page and make sure everybody's is following and copied into your business page, so they get an alert and they can then resend it and reshare it. That's going to be key. LinkedIn is definitely rewarding collaboration. And so this is one of those collaborative approaches that you can take. And of course, if you're guiding and if you're, the stimulus behind doing all this stuff, then you can be the one who's watching and tracking those results. So it is about also embracing the future of LinkedIn. These are probably the top 6 things that we've been covering here in this session, which are new within this year. But LinkedIn is going to continue to launch new features predominantly for marketers. We marketers are really fortunate that LinkedIn has got our back. It's on our side. It's thinking of us first. Yes, you can see there's recruiters in there. Yes, you can see there's, the sales profiles and stuff. They're given a big push. But overall, I would say as marketers and communicators, we have got the upper hand here. We've got the cards. They're in our hand. AI is definitely going to play a bigger role in both content creation and ad optimization. We're doing it outside of LinkedIn, but we're going to see it more within LinkedIn as well. So authenticity and personalization is going to be crucial. Don't rely just purely on AI generated content. Add the human in as well. It's about a balance. We all know we're all going to be doing it. That's okay. But adding that human element in, remember the rule of thirds, personal, point, promote, that is going to work. But be agile. Know that what we're talking about here today, tomorrow is very likely to change. So test new tactics and make sure you're adapting really quickly. Stay on top of LinkedIn updates. Be willing to experiment and play. And if you see some good accounts that you like, follow them. Click on the little bell to get that little reminder, much as you would in, YouTube, etc., elsewhere, where you can just get those little prompts every time some good content and some good changes happen. And of course, the search facility for the help within LinkedIn is there at your disposal too. So if you've got any particular ideas or thoughts, just go and have a look in there. They're constantly updating and refreshing it. This is still one of the highest quality, in my view, social networks that we have available to us as marketers. So let's make the most of it. Key takeaways then: enable creator mode, post engaging content regularly. The key is regularly. Once you open this little Pandora's box of opportunity, you want to embrace it. So figure out when you can do this stuff. Make sure it's kind of on your radar most days, if not every day. I've got LinkedIn set as the default homepage on my browser of choice. So it is the place I go to every single time, multiple times a day by default. It's just an easy way then of making sure that stays relevant and current. Go live monthly if you can, if you're willing to give that a go, and repurpose video across all your other channels. Once you've created this video and this content, you can reuse it elsewhere. So repurposing obviously saves you time and energy. Empower your colleagues to be active on LinkedIn, to help them, share this video with them, talk to them about this stuff, give them updates. It can be your responsibility to kind of own this and make this thing happen. Be testing, whether it's ads or organic content. Make sure you're still precisely targeting and doing stuff that is just good marketing practice. Again, the algorithms in LinkedIn will reward you, as they will if you're continuously measuring and optimizing your performance. LinkedIn, as with all the social networks, likes positive change. So everything that you're doing, if you can base your decisions, base your improvements on the data that you see, and stay agile and embrace these evolving AI tools, as undoubtedly in the not too distant time, they will be adding more and more features to give us more and more benefits. So just keep your eyes and ears peeled for this stuff, because it is going to be continuously moving. But I hope those 6 things that we were talking about have hopefully whetted your appetite to go in and play with your LinkedIn account. And I wish you every success in it. If we're not connected, please do connect with me on LinkedIn and do kind of ask any questions at all. We can connect and message there. You'll find me at Neil Wilkins X if we're not already connected. I will look forward to watching your account grow and flourish as well, because if we're connected, obviously you're going to appear on my timeline and vice versa. So I'll keep you updated if we are connected with any of the new and emerging things happening within LinkedIn. It's a connection place of choice for me personally, so I do keep a watch on this one. So if that's helpful to you as well, I can do the groundwork and the hard yards, keeping you up to date with what's going on. So I hope you found that useful, this session here today with Cambridge Marketing College. If you want to stay tuned with the upcoming events that we're running and the webinars that are in the calendar already, simply go to marketingcollege.com/events.